What if I told you that much of the advice you've heard about keeping your motorcycle in top shape is actually costing you money, time, and even putting your ride at risk? For decades, riders like us have been fed misinformation, sometimes by well-meaning friends, and sometimes, frankly, by the very mechanics and industry experts who benefit from your lack of knowledge. Today, we're cutting through the noise to expose 21 motorcycle lies you've been told. Myths that could be draining your wallet and shortening your bike's life. We're going to give you the real insights that empower you to maintain your machine smarter, not harder. Let's dive right into the truth, starting with number 21. WD-40 is fine for your motorcycle chain. We're starting with one of the most widespread and insidious myths, a belief so common it's almost taken for granted. Many riders think that a quick spray of WD-40 on their chain is perfectly fine, or even a good way to lubricate it. You see it all the time. Someone grabs that iconic blue and yellow can, gives their chain a generous coating, and thinks they've done their bike a favor. But here's the reality that mechanics often won't correct, because frankly, they might be happy to sell you a new chain later on. WD-40, while a fantastic water displacer and general-purpose lubricant, is not designed for the high-pressure, high-friction environment of a motorcycle chain. Its main job is to displace water and offer light lubrication. When applied to a chain, it can actually strip away the vital, heavy-duty grease that's sealed inside your O-rings, X-rings, or Z-rings. It's too thin to provide the proper lubrication needed for your chain and sprockets to operate smoothly under the stress of your engine's power. Worse yet, it can attract dirt and grime, turning your chain into a grinding paste that accelerates wear and significantly shortens its life. Your chain needs a dedicated chain lube, or for a budget-friendly and equally effective option, a basic 80-weight to 90-weight gear oil. These alternatives are designed to reduce friction, prevent rust, and stay where they belong, protecting your chain for thousands of miles. Now, speaking of things that seem like a simple fix but can lead to big problems down the road, let's talk about something else you're probably told needs constant attention: your brake fluid. Number 20. Brake fluid needs changing every 1 to 2 years. You've likely heard it repeated 1,000 times. Change your motorcycle's brake fluid every year, or every 2 years, no exceptions. This rule has been ingrained in us as gospel, an absolute requirement for safety. The thinking goes that brake fluid is hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs moisture over time, which can lower its boiling point and affect braking performance. And that's true in theory. But here's the part mechanics and manufacturers often gloss over because, well, annual services are good for business. For the average street rider, whether you're commuting daily or cruising on weekends, a brake fluid change every 2 to 3 years is usually more than sufficient. Modern .4 fluids are engineered to last much longer than you think, packed with advanced additives that resist moisture absorption. The rapid degradation only becomes a real issue if your brake system has been consistently exposed to air or moisture due to improper seals or damage. Instead of blindly replacing it based on a calendar, check its condition. Fresh fluid is typically clear or light yellow, but it darkens over time as it absorbs moisture. If it's turned dark brown or black, then yes, it's definitely time for a flush. But if it still looks clean and your brakes feel firm, you're good to go, likely saving yourself a $150 service visit and reducing the risk of introducing air or contaminants from an unnecessary flush. And just like brake fluid, another component that's often pushed for premature replacement is your motorcycle's battery. Number 19. Your motorcycle battery will inevitably die every 2 years. How many times have you heard or even expected that your motorcycle battery would just give up the ghost after exactly 2 years? This persistent myth has led countless riders to unnecessarily replace perfectly functional batteries, buying into a cycle of planned obsolescence. The truth is, while batteries eventually wear out, their lifespan is far from a fixed 2-year period. Factors like proper charging, keeping terminals clean, and correct storage during the off-season play a much greater role than mere age. Modern batteries, especially lithium-ion, can last 3 to 5 years or even longer if properly cared for. The main reason batteries often fail around 2 years is often due to poor maintenance. Letting a battery sit for long periods without a battery tender, especially during winter months, causes it to lose charge and deteriorate prematurely. Extreme temperatures can also shorten its lifespan, but with a smart battery charger to maintain an optimal charge, clean terminals free from corrosion, and disconnecting the battery for long storage, you can significantly extend its life. So before you rush out to buy a new battery, give your current one the care it deserves. You might be surprised how many more years you get out of it, saving you hundreds of dollars. Speaking of saving money and avoiding unnecessary purchases, let's talk about the cleaning products you use on your bike. Number 18, you need specialized motorcycle cleaning products. Walk into any motorcycle shop and you'll see a dazzling array of specialized cleaning sprays, waxes, and polishes, all promising to keep your bike in pristine condition. They come with flashy packaging and prices that make you gasp. But is your motorcycle really made of such magical materials that it requires unique, highly specialized products to clean it? This myth is a marketing masterpiece designed to convince passionate bike owners that only the most expensive branded products will do the job. The reality is, many of these special motorcycle cleaning products are often just repackaged versions of common household or automotive cleaners, typically with a much higher price tag attached. A mild car wash soap or even gentle dish soap works perfectly fine for cleaning your bike's body and frame without stripping protective coatings. For polishing and protecting your paintwork, a high-quality automotive wax will do the job just as well, offering protection from the elements and UV rays. Even regular tire cleaner or a simple degreaser can effectively remove grime from your wheels. The key is to use gentle, non-abrasive cleaners that won't damage your bike's finish or components. By sticking with simple, affordable car care items, you can keep your motorcycle looking great and save a significant amount of money in the process. Don't fall for the hype, and when it comes to visual leaks, sometimes what you see isn't always what you get. Number 17. Most fork seal leaks mean the seals are damaged. That sinking feeling when you see a streak of oil dripping down your fork leg. Your mind immediately jumps to expensive fork seal replacement, and your wallet starts to tremble. It's a common misconception that any oil around your fork seals means they're blown and require immediate, costly repair. But here's what many mechanics rarely mention. Often because a seal replacement is a lucrative job. In reality, most leaks are simply excess oil or residue around the seals, often caused by improper cleaning, overfilling the suspension oil, or accumulated dirt and debris. Fork seals are designed to keep suspension oil in and debris out. However, dirt, dust, or mud can build up around them, getting trapped between the seal and the fork tube. This causes oil to seep out, creating the illusion of a major leak. It's not necessarily a sign of faulty seals. Often, a simple cleaning with a thin piece of plastic like a feeler gauge or a dedicated fork seal cleaning tool can remove the trapped debris and solve the problem completely. So before you panic and authorize a $400 repair, try cleaning and inspecting the area thoroughly. Chances are it's not as serious as it seems, and you'll save yourself hundreds of dollars in a trip to the shop. Now, sticking with the idea of simple fixes and costly mistakes, let's talk about the common error made during a routine oil change. Number 16. Over-tightening your oil drain plug is best or necessary. When you're changing your motorcycle's oil, there's an almost instinctive urge to tighten that drain plug as much as humanly possible. The logic seems simple. Tighter equals no leaks, right? This seemingly innocent act is one of the most common and potentially costly mistakes riders make. What many don't realize is that the oil drain plug threads into your motorcycle's oil pan, which is typically made of softer aluminum. Over-tightening the plug can easily strip these delicate threads or even crack the oil pan itself. A stripped drain plug can lead to persistent leaks, or worse, an inability to properly seal the oil pan at all, potentially requiring expensive thread repair, a helicoil, or even a full oil pan replacement. These repairs can cost anywhere from $300 to $500, all because of a mistaken belief that more force is better. The drain plug doesn't need to be tightened excessively. It just needs enough torque to create a secure seal and compress its crush washer. The best way to avoid this is to follow your manufacturer's specific torque specifications found in your service manual. If you don't have a torque wrench, a good rule of thumb is to tighten it snugly until you feel resistance. Then give it just a little extra hand tightening, no more than a quarter turn. And always replace the crush washer with each oil change. It's a few pennies that prevents leaks and the urge to over-tighten. And speaking of preventing costly damage to threads and fasteners, there's another often overlooked product that can save you a fortune down the road. Number 15. Antiseize compound is unnecessary. You've probably seen that tube of Antiseize compound gathering dust on a shelf. Maybe you've even wondered what it's for. Many riders and even some mechanics might tell you it's an optional extra or perhaps unnecessary for most applications. But this little $5 tube is actually a powerful weapon against costly repairs and maintenance headaches. The lie here is that metal fasteners will always come apart easily when you need them to. But any experienced rider who's battled a stuck, corroded exhaust bolt, a seized axle nut, or a brake caliper bolt that simply won't budge knows the frustration and expense involved. These parts seize together due to heat, corrosion, and pressure. Antiseize is a special lubricant formulated with fine particles of metals like copper, graphite, or aluminum suspended in a grease base. When applied to bolts, nuts, and threaded fasteners, it acts as a protective barrier, preventing them from fusing together due to rust, galling, or extreme temperatures. It's particularly useful on exhaust systems, engine parts, and suspension components, areas constantly exposed to heat, vibration, and moisture. A thin layer during installation ensures that parts come apart easily when it's time for maintenance, saving you hours of frustration and hundreds of dollars in extraction costs or damaged components. Mechanics often make good money drilling out seized bolts, a job that could have been prevented with a dab of Antiseize. It's a small step that makes a huge difference in the long run. Now let's talk about another seemingly complex task that mechanics love to charge big bucks for, but you can easily do yourself. Number 14. Coolant flushes are complex, best left to mechanics. The cooling system, often out of sight, out of mind, until your temperature gauge starts creeping into the danger zone. Many riders assume that flushing their motorcycle's coolant is a complex procedure, a task that absolutely requires a professional mechanic and specialized tools. The lie is that it's too difficult or risky for the average rider to tackle themselves. But in reality, a coolant flush is a relatively simple and essential maintenance task that you can easily perform in your own garage, saving you a $150 to $200 service bill. Over time, coolant breaks down, losing its ability to regulate engine temperature and protect against corrosion. This can lead to sediment buildup that clogs your radiator and damages your engine. Regular coolant flushes, typically every 2 to 3 years or every 10,000 to 20,000 miles, help keep your cooling system efficient and prevent expensive overheating. The process is straightforward. Drain the old coolant, making sure your engine is cool. Flush the system with clean water until it runs clear, and then refill with fresh, manufacturer-specified coolant. Remember to use the correct type of coolant for your bike, as mixing different chemistries can cause catastrophic gel formation. Once refilled, start the engine to circulate the coolant and release any air bubbles, then top off as needed. This simple DIY job greatly enhances your bike's performance and extends its engine life. It's a small investment of your time that prevents much larger problems down the road. And just as simple maintenance can save you on coolant, it can also save you on another critical, yet often neglected component of your ride. Number 13. Wheel bearings are minor components that don't need regular checks. When it comes to motorcycle maintenance, wheel bearings are often overlooked, seemingly small and insignificant components. Many riders operate under the false assumption that they'll only need attention when something has gone drastically wrong, or that they're a set-it-and-forget-it part that only mechanics need to worry about. The lie is that these are minor parts that don't need regular inspection. But in reality, these bearings are crucial for ensuring smooth wheel rotation, supporting the entire weight of your bike, and absorbing the radial and axial loads from braking, cornering, and acceleration. Neglecting them can lead to dangerous handling issues, excessive wear on other components, and even a catastrophic wheel seizure at high speeds. Over time, factors like moisture, dirt, extreme temperatures, or lack of proper lubrication can cause them to wear out. The good news is that keeping your wheel bearings in check is relatively simple. Regular inspection is key to catching problems early when they're cheap to fix. You can easily check for excessive play or wobbling in the wheel by lifting your bike and grabbing the wheel at the top and bottom, giving it a gentle wiggle. Any noticeable movement, grinding, or whining noises when spinning the wheel are clear signs they need attention. And here's a PRO tip. Over-torquing your axle nuts can put excessive pressure on your wheel bearings, significantly shortening their lifespan. Early detection of bearing issues can often be solved with simple cleaning and re-greasing, costing you under $20 in materials compared to $200 to $300 for a full replacement. Don't wait for that telltale grinding noise to become a safety risk. Your wheel bearings are the silent heroes of your ride. And speaking of proper lubrication, let's clear up another common oil-related misconception. Number 12. Simply topping off engine oil replaces a full oil change. You check your dipstick, see the oil levels a little low, and think, I'll just add a quart or two, that'll do the trick. Many riders genuinely believe that simply adding fresh oil to top off their engine is equivalent to performing a full oil change. The lie here gives a false sense of security, making you think you're maintaining your engine when you're not. But this is a dangerous misconception that can lead to premature engine wear and expensive problems down the road. Over time, your engine oil accumulates contaminants, metal particles from wear, combustion byproducts, fuel dilution, and moisture. These pollutants break down the oil's lubricating properties. Merely adding new oil only dilutes these contaminants. It doesn't remove them. Your engine is still running on degraded, polluted oil, which accelerates wear on critical components. A complete oil change involves draining all the old contaminated oil and replacing the oil filter, which traps the debris. This process resets your lubrication quality and removes accumulated contaminants that cause bearing damage and internal wear. While topping off can be helpful in emergencies to prevent running critically low on oil, it should never replace the need for a complete, regularly scheduled oil change. Even modern synthetic oils, which last longer, still require full changes to remove these contaminants. Your engine deserves clean, unpolluted blood, not just a diluted version of sludge. And when we talk about critical checks, there's one that impacts more than just your engine's health. Number 11. Guessing or relying on gas station pumps for tire pressure is adequate. We've all been there. You pull into a gas station, eye up your tires, give them a kick, and maybe, just maybe, use that ancient, often inaccurate air pump. Many riders operate under the false belief that estimating tire pressure or relying on unreliable station gauges is adequate, or that obsessing over exact pressure is only for racers. But this seemingly small oversight can have major impacts on your bike's handling, tire lifespan, fuel economy, and most importantly, your safety. The lie here is that close enough is truly good enough. Both underinflation and overinflation cause significant problems. Underinflation causes excessive sidewall flexing, generating heat that prematurely wears out your tires and can lead to dangerous blowouts. Tires can wear out up to 50% faster if consistently underinflated. Overinflation, on the other hand, reduces your tire's contact patch with the road, leading to less grip, harder braking, a harsh ride, and uneven center wear. It also transfers more shock directly into your wheels, bearings, forks, and frame, accelerating wear on your suspension components. Tire pressure also changes with temperature. For every 10 degrees Fahrenheit increase, your tire pressure climbs about 1 psi. The solution is simple. Always check your tire pressure when your tires are cold, before riding or at least 3 hours after stopping, using a good quality digital pressure gauge. Your factory specifications aren't just arbitrary numbers. They're based on extensive testing and are crucial for optimal performance and safety. Adjust your pressure based on load and riding style, but always use the manufacturer's spec as your starting point. This small, consistent check can extend your tire life by 20 to 30%, significantly improve handling, and save you money. Don't guess, measure. And speaking of critical adjustments that can save you money, let's talk about that slipping clutch. Number 10, if your clutch is slipping, you automatically need a new clutch. That dreaded feeling. You twist the throttle, the engine revs like crazy, but your bike doesn't pull like it should. Your first thought? Oh no, my clutch is shot. Time for a $400 to $600 replacement. This panic is exactly what mechanics anticipate, often leading them to immediately suggest a costly clutch job. The lie is that these symptoms always indicate a worn-out clutch. But here's the often overlooked truth. In many cases, your clutch plates are perfectly fine. The problem is often much simpler: a misadjusted or stretched clutch cable or old hydraulic clutch fluid. If your clutch lever doesn't have a bit of free play, typically 0.08 to 0.11 inches, you're essentially riding with the clutch slightly engaged all the time. This constant tension prevents the clutch from fully biting, causing it to slip under load and burning out your clutch plates much faster than normal. The fix is ridiculously simple. Check and adjust your clutch cable once a month. It takes literally 5 minutes and requires no special tools. If your bike has a hydraulic clutch, old fluid absorbs moisture and loses pressure, mimicking a slipping clutch. Flushing and replacing that fluid can resolve the issue. So before you start shopping for a new clutch, take 5 minutes to inspect and adjust your cable or check your hydraulic fluid. You might just double the life of your current clutch and save hundreds of dollars. And on the topic of cheap fixes that save you big money, let's discuss your air filter. Number 9. A clogged air filter only robs horsepower. Many riders know that a clogged air filter will reduce your engine's horsepower. It's a common performance complaint, but the lie here is that this is the only significant problem a dirty filter causes, implying it's just about a little less oomph. The real danger of a neglected air filter goes far beyond just a loss of power. A clogged filter doesn't just restrict airflow, it actually leans out your air-fuel mixture, meaning your engine is getting too much air and not enough fuel. This causes your engine to run hotter, significantly increasing combustion temperatures. Hotter combustion temperatures lead to overworked and prematurely worn exhaust valves. If they stay hot too long, they can warp or even burn, leading to expensive engine damage and a complete valve failure. Warning signs include rough idling, stalling, and backfires. The good news is that replacing an air filter costs next to nothing compared to engine repairs. If you're riding in dusty, dirty, or wet conditions, check it even more often than your manual suggests. For off-road riders, a weekly inspection is crucial. It's a 5-minute job that could save you thousands in engine repairs. Don't let a dirty filter quietly destroy your engine. And when we talk about components that can destroy themselves, let's talk about brake pads and what you're often told about them. Number 8. Brake pads must be replaced as soon as a mechanic says they're low. You take your bike in for service, and the mechanic tells you, with a concerned look, your brake pads are low, they need replacing immediately. It's one of the easiest upsells in the industry because most riders aren't sure how to check their pads and assume anything involving brakes must be urgent. The lie is that the mechanic's word is the only indicator, and that low means imminent failure. The truth is, brake pads have clear wear indicators, small grooves that run across the surface. If these grooves are still visible, you've likely got life left. A general rule of thumb is that 0.08 of friction material left is the replacement threshold. Replacing them at 60% wear is like tossing out half a loaf of bread because it might go stale next week. Some shops don't even bother measuring. They just eyeball it and recommend replacement to pad the bill. You can and should check pad thickness yourself. Pop off the caliper, shine a flashlight, and measure. Anything above 0.08 means you can likely keep riding. Also, be mindful of the type of pad. Cheap, no-name pads can be too hard, chewing through your rotors faster than you'd believe, leading to $300 or more per rotor replacement. Match your pad to your riding style and rotor type. Don't let an upsell cost you unnecessary parts and labor. Your safety is paramount, but so is your wallet. And speaking of diagnosing problems before they become critical, your spark plugs are often trying to tell you something very important. Number 7. You only need to check spark plugs when something goes wrong. Most riders ignore their spark plugs until their bike is running rough, misfiring, or simply won't start. The common belief is that spark plugs are just there to make a spark, and you only need to mess with them when there's a problem. But here's a secret that mechanics rarely highlight because it gives you too much power over your engine's health. Your spark plugs are like a health report for your engine. They're constantly trying to tell you something important about what's happening inside. If you know how to read them, they can warn you about problems long before a dashboard light comes on or a major failure occurs. A black, sooty plug means your engine is running rich, too much fuel. A white, chalky plug indicates it's running lean, not enough fuel, which risks overheating. And if you see oily deposits, it might mean your valve seals are leaking, allowing oil to slip into the combustion chamber. You should check your spark plugs every 5,000 miles. This simple inspection can alert you to issues like improper fuel mixture, oil leaks, or other engine problems, allowing you to address them early before they become expensive repairs. Plus, replacing them regularly keeps your bike running smoother, idling cleaner, and starting easier. Your spark plugs don't just make a spark, they tell the story of your engine's health. And speaking of things added to your fuel, let's clarify a popular but often misunderstood topic. Number 6. All fuel additives are overpriced snake oil. There's a huge market for fuel system cleaners and octane boosters, promising to clean your injectors, boost power, and solve all your fuel-related woes. Many riders, cynical from past experiences or hearing other stories, believe that all fuel additives are overpriced snake oil and a complete waste of money. While it's true that a large portion of them are, and often unnecessary, the lie is that none of them work. The truth is, unless your fuel injectors are genuinely clogged, You probably don't need them if you're consistently using top-tier gasoline. Major brands like Shell, Chevron, or Mobil already contain detergents designed to clean injectors and reduce carbon buildup. Tests have shown that consistently using good gas keeps engines cleaner than any additive you can buy at a gas station. However, if you do have clogged injectors or suspect carbon deposits, specific proven additives containing polyethylamine, often referred to as PEA, can be effective at dissolving these deposits as you ride without the need for manual disassembly. Brands like Techron or Seafoam are often cited as effective options. The key is to use them sparingly and only when genuinely needed. Overusing any additive can foul your spark plugs or damage sensitive sensors. So while most are indeed snake oil, a select few can be a legitimate solution for specific problems. Choose wisely and remember, prevention through good fuel is always best. And speaking of protecting your ride, let's talk about something that protects you. Number 5. A helmet lasts indefinitely if you haven't crashed it. Your helmet looks perfectly fine. You've never crashed in it, it's been cared for, and it still seems new. The common but dangerous myth is that helmets are like fine wine. They get better with age, or at least last forever as long as they haven't been involved in an impact. This false sense of security can put your life at risk. But here's the harsh reality. Helmets are not meant to last indefinitely, even if you've never crashed. The protective foam inside, which is the critical component for absorbing impact, gradually breaks down over time from exposure to heat, sweat, UV rays, and simple age. Research shows that after just 5 years, most helmets lose a noticeable amount of their ability to absorb impact. And by 7 years, the difference is dramatic. Yet many riders keep using them, thinking, hey, it still looks new. The problem is, when you actually need it, in a crash, it might not perform the way it was designed to, leaving your most important asset vulnerable. So do yourself a favor, check the manufacturer date on the tag inside your helmet. If it's over 5 years old, it's time to start shopping for a new one. If you ride daily or frequently leave your helmet exposed to the sun, consider replacing it even sooner. It's one of the most important pieces of gear you own, and the one that could save your life. And just like knowing when to replace a helmet, knowing how to properly warm up your engine can save its life too. Number 4, you need to idle your motorcycle for a long time to warm it up. You've seen them. The riders who fire up their bikes and let them idle for what feels like 10 minutes, often revving the throttle a little, convinced they're properly warming up the engine before hitting the road. This old school belief, often passed down from carbureted days, is a persistent myth that can actually do more harm than good for modern, fuel-injected motorcycles. The lie is that long idling is necessary for proper lubrication and engine health. While it's true that cold oil moves like thick syrup, especially on chilly mornings, and your engine parts aren't properly lubricated for those first few seconds, excessive idling isn't the solution. For most modern, fuel-injected bikes with an ECU, 30 to 60 seconds of idling is ample time for the oil to start circulating. After that, the best way to warm your engine is to simply ride gently for the first few minutes, keeping the RPMs low and avoiding hard acceleration. This allows the engine to come up to operating temperature under a light load, which helps it warm up more evenly and efficiently than just sitting there idling in neutral. Excessive idling wastes gas, can foul spark plugs, and doesn't allow your engine to warm evenly. So fire it up, give it half a minute, buckle your helmet, put on your gloves, and then gently ride away. Your engine will thank you, and so will your gas tank. And speaking of things that riders obsess over, sometimes the focus is on the wrong thing entirely. Number 3, chain lubing is more important than chain tension. The chain, a source of much debate and obsession among riders. You see people meticulously cleaning and lubing their chain every 100 miles, carrying special lubes, almost as if it's a sacred ritual. The myth is that frequent, obsessive lubing is the most important aspect of chain maintenance, overshadowing other critical factors. But here's the dirty truth that mechanics might not emphasize as much as they should because chain and sprocket replacements are good business. Chain tension is arguably more important than constant lubrication. While lubrication is essential to prevent rust and keep the O-ring supple, your sealed chain already has grease inside its rollers. The real danger lies in incorrect tension. A chain that's too tight is a silent killer. It puts dangerous strain on your sprockets, increases wear and tear, and adds intense stress on your transmission bearings and shaft. This can lead to oil leaks, noisy shifting, or even cracked cases over time. Conversely, a chain that's too loose will lead to sloppy shifting, reduced power, excessive noise, and risks derailing or snapping entirely. The crucial part often missed is that as your suspension moves up and down, the angle of your chain changes. If it's too tight, it can't adjust naturally, causing severe stress. You should always check chain slack with someone sitting on the bike or with a strap simulating rider weight. Ignoring proper tension can cost you hundreds of dollars for new chain and sprockets, and potentially thousands if you damage seals or bearings. So while lubing is important, prioritize checking your chain tension monthly and after every serious ride, like in wet conditions. It'll save you a fortune. And when we discuss expensive repairs, sometimes the solution to a seemingly complex problem is surprisingly simple. Number 2, most motorcycle electrical issues are complex and expensive to diagnose. Picture this: you hit the starter button and nothing. Maybe a faint click, no crank, or your dash lights start flickering like a disco. Your mind immediately jumps to the worst-case scenarios: a blown fuse, a bad stator, or some mysterious ECM-level nightmare. Many mechanics are happy to let you think this, diagnosing a dead starter or an electrical short and quoting you for hundreds of dollars in parts and labor. But here's what they often won't tell you. Most motorcycle electrical issues, especially no-start situations, boil down to 2 incredibly simple culprits: a dead or weak battery or a corroded or loose connection. Modern bikes are fussy about voltage. Even a slight interruption from a vibrating battery cable or a bit of corrosion on the terminals can cause the entire electrical system to fail. The ECU won't boot, relays won't click, and the starter motor won't even try. Mechanics know this, which is why one of their first steps in troubleshooting should be a battery load test and a ground wire check. The solution is often to simply clean and re-secure your battery terminals with a wire brush, tighten them snugly with a wrench, and apply dielectric grease to keep moisture out. You should also check for frayed wires or worn insulation, especially after a battery swap. So before you authorize a costly diagnosis or part replacement, take 5 minutes to remove your seat or side panel and check both battery cables. 9 times out of 10, the issue ends there, saving you $100 or more for something you could have fixed with a toothbrush and a voltmeter. And on that note of simple fixes for seemingly broken parts, let's talk about that bent brake lever. Finally, at number 1, a bent brake lever cannot be straightened. It happens to the best of us. Your bike tips over at a standstill, maybe in a gravel parking lot, and you find your front brake lever bent inward like a curled finger. You ride to the shop, and the mechanic frowns, telling you, "Nah, can't bend that back. Gotta replace it." Then they hit you with a $60 plus bill for a new one, plus labor. The lie here is that once bent, a lever is unrepairable, forcing you to buy a new one. But here's the truth that could save you $60 and a trip to the parts counter. Most stock brake levers are made of a soft cast aluminum alloy, which means they can often be straightened safely if the bend isn't extreme and there are no visible cracks. The trick is controlled heat and patience. Aluminum is brittle when cold and will snap if you force it. But if you warm it gradually with a heat gun until it's hot to the touch, around 250 degrees Fahrenheit or 120 degrees Celsius, the metal becomes pliable enough to move without fracturing. Use a vise or clamp the lever down, then gently apply pressure with a wrench or soft-jawed pliers. Go slow and don't overcorrect. This won't restore it to factory spec, but it will make it functional and safe, often good enough to keep you riding until you decide to replace it. It's a simple, cost-effective solution that mechanics rarely suggest because it doesn't generate profit. So next time you bend a lever, remember this trick and save yourself some cash. Now that you're armed with the truth about these 21 myths, your bike maintenance will be more efficient and less costly. But are you sure you're getting the most out of every ride? Click this video right here to discover the 10 secret motorcycle mods that no one talks about, but every smart rider should know.